Hi everyone, and thanks for stopping by and watching the video. Today, I wanted to show you one of the more specialized tools that I use in my gardening and grounds maintenance work, the STIHL RG-KM attachment, together with the STIHL KMA 135R battery combi unit. Before we start, just a quick disclaimer. This video is not sponsored in any way. I bought this setup myself with my own money for my own work, and I simply wanted to share some honest real-world experience using it professionally. So, what exactly is the RG-KM? Unlike a traditional strimmer head that uses spinning nylon line, the RG-KM works with a reciprocating blade system. The blades operate at up to around 3,000 strokes per minute, so although it's designed more for controlled cutting, it still removes grass and weeds really effectively. The upper and lower blades move back and forth against each other, offset by around 30 degrees, rather than spinning at high speed like a normal trimmer head. One of the biggest advantages is the massively reduced risk of flying debris. STIHL specifies a safety distance of around 3 meters to objects and vehicles, and 5 meters to people, compared to roughly 15 meters that you'd normally need with a standard line trimmer. A lot of my work takes place alongside public pathways, parked cars, curbs, and residential areas where I simply can't always ask people to move their vehicles before I start work. In those situations, reducing the risk of throwing stones or debris becomes incredibly important. And that's exactly where this tool shines. You can probably see throughout this video the sort of places where it becomes useful. Around flower beds, near fences, along curbs and paving edges, around trees and delicate planting, or anywhere that needs accurate cutting. The power unit I'm using here is the STIHL KMA 135R, which is part of STIHL's professional AP battery platform. It's brushless, battery-powered, and it also has variable speed control, so you can adjust the power depending on the task you're doing. Another thing I really appreciate is the lower noise level compared to petrol machines. When you're working in residential areas or near pedestrians, quieter battery equipment definitely makes the whole job more pleasant for everybody around you. And because this is part of the STIHL KombiSystem, I can quickly swap between different attachments depending on the job without needing multiple separate engines. So overall, this setup has honestly become one of those tools that I use far more often than I originally expected when I first bought it. It's not necessarily the fastest option for every single situation, but when safety, precision, and controlled cutting really matter, this tool definitely comes into its own. Now, I know a lot of people mainly use the RG-KM as a lawn edger, and it definitely can do that job well. But personally, I actually prefer using the dedicated STIHL edging attachment for edging work. The blade is cheaper to replace, and in my opinion, it's simply better suited to that specific task. Now, I personally wouldn't describe this as a heavy brush clearing tool. It's definitely more of a precision and safety-focused attachment. If you're dealing with thick woody material or really dense overgrowth, there are better dedicated brush cutting tools for that type of work. But for controlled edging and vegetation management in sensitive environments, honestly, I think it's brilliant. And the cutting action itself is actually surprisingly aggressive for this type of system. Another thing I've noticed is that it doesn't really tend to wrap up with grass or clog very much, especially compared to some traditional strimmer heads, particularly in longer grass or wet conditions. Hopefully this video gives you a realistic look at how the RG-KM performs in genuine day-to-day professional work, rather than just a showroom demonstration. If you've got any questions about the setup, battery runtime, or how I personally use it in my work, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.